Perranporth Beach is a pretty spectacular, beautiful beach, golden sand, a couple of miles long. The main part of Perranporth Beach is cut off from the big stretch of Perranporth. It is really popular for surfing. It is notoriously dangerous, but you also get very good surf there, so you will get really good surfers. But it is a really, really beautiful stretch of coastline. Cornwall, born and bred, lived by the coast my whole life. My parents weren't from down here, so they kind of came down to Cornwall and set their home here. With that in mind, they wanted me to be safe by the sea and, be able to, get myself out of any pickles if I got myself into any. So they enrolled me in a life-saving clubs when I was younger, and I used to go and do these sessions where you would learn how to be safe in the sea and lots of other different skills. So the Bat Caves are a notoriously dangerous part of Perranporth Beach. If you're looking out to sea, they're to the left. They're not enclosed caves, they're open caves, but kind of gullied in. And they're just very jaggedy and very dangerous, especially if a swell is running into those caves. Within the Bat Caves, there is history of people getting into difficulty in there. Previously, we've had fatalities. I look back on it now and I'm like, 16 years on, you kind of forget how big it was, but actually it was a really big thing. So in September 2006, I was lifeguarding on Perranporth Beach. I had just come out of the water doing a bit of training on the RWC, which is a jet ski. I just popped in to have a bite to eat before I went back out. And a call came in over the radio, and actually at about the same time from the Coast Guard, because someone had reported it, that someone was stuck in the Bat Caves. So I was already suited and booted. So I ran down, and there was a jet ski in the water. He was still doing a patrol. So I waved him in. And he came in and we went to search the area. So we headed round to the Bat Caves and kind of did a swoop to see what we could see. We eventually saw the surfer and he was stranded he had managed to get up onto a bit of a ledge. There was a big swell coming in, so it was an extremely kind of dangerous situation. And we decided that I needed to swim into the Bat Caves to kind of figure out what we needed to do and secure him and make sure he was okay. So Chris O'Neill, who was the jet ski driver, took me in closer to shore so I could kind of prep myself with fins and a tube, a rescue tube to swim in. And we then returned back to the Bat Cave, where he dropped me off, and I swam into the cave through big swell. You're kind of a bit amped and ready just to go, even though all the thought processes are going through your head from your training and previous experiences of swimming through big swell and getting up onto cliffs and things like that. I personally feel like adrenaline took over a little bit, but the thought processes were there, but maybe a bit subconsciously. In my head, I was processing that I needed to time my swim right, so with the swell ebbing and kind of ebbing and flowing and going backwards and sucking the water back out, I had to really process how to get up onto the cliffs, how to get to the casualty. I could see the guy, so I kind of knew that he was okay. I think he was going through a bit of shock. He was very relieved to see me, actually, and I think visually when he saw the jet ski, he must have been very happy to see us. Maybe a bit concerned when we drove off to to put our fins and rescue tube on, but yeah, he was extremely relieved to see us. He was in shock, and he was a bit beaten and battered up. I got up to the surfer and was prepping him to say, look, I know this is really not a great situation, but I'm going to have to put you in a rescue tube and swim you back through the swell to get to the jet ski. So that's normally what would happen. It was quite daunting because of the swell, because it was so big. Luckily I had fins, so in my head I was like, I've got a bit of extra power to get me through there. And I think we would have been okay doing it, but for him, he must have thought, oh my goodness, I don't want to go back in there. Whereas my adrenaline was kind of like, we've just got to get you through there and get you back to the jet ski. We had a bit of time kind of discussing it, and I was prepping him to what we would be doing. We would enter the water and I would make sure I had him quite close to me initially, and then we would kind of try and get him through the waves. Within that time, Chris had radioed to my other colleagues on the beach, and they had agreed that the IRB, the inshore rescue boat, would be launched and come and see if they could aid the situation. The IRB has a tighter turning circle, so it could actually enter the cave. So the boat came in, kind of came close actually, and we kind of visually communicated between one another to say, that's what we're going to do. They're going to spin the boat in, turn it round. We would jump in. I could kind of figure what was going to happen. Amazing boat skills that the boys had driving into the cave, and they timed it perfectly. So when they drove in, we jumped in, and then they pulled us into the boat, and then returned us to shore through the swell. For the rescue, our team were recognised by the RNLI. I was awarded the bronze medal for gallantry. The rest of the team were recognised with thanks on vellum. It meant the world to me. It was a massive deal, but I kind of feel that I couldn't have done it without the people behind me. It was a team effort, not an individual effort, but I was completely honoured to be recognised, and I was also recognised as the first female lifeguard to receive the Medal of Gallantry, after a friend of mine, actually from Newquay, received the first ever Medal of Gallantry from the RNLI. So it's a complete honour. The only regret that's come out of any of this is that my dad didn't see me receive my bronze medal of gallantry. He sadly passed away 8 days after I did my rescue, so he knew that it was a big deal. He knew, he had seen the papers that it was a big deal. He knew that something might come out of it, but he didn't know what would come out of it. And, lots and lots of things have followed over the years that have been amazing in my RNLI life. Even though I'm not part of the RNLI kind of family as such, I still have that link through, through having my gallantry medal. But it is horrible feeling not knowing that my dad, he would have been the proudest person, honestly, in the world, to know and to have seen this whole process.
Hello, it's Phil Coulter here. You've been listening to part of the RNLI's 200 Voices collection. To hear more remarkable stories, head to rnli.org 200 Voices, or subscribe to the RNLI wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you.
"200 Voices" is an Adventurous Audio Limited production for the RNLI.